What up? It's the Grandpa MC coming at you with another video. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Alright, so I'm a little late. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the work schedule don't be permitting me sometimes because sometimes you be so tired and I don't want to get on here and be fumbling up more than I am. So uh, this is the this is about the Celtics City documentary. Real good series. This is episode 5 out of the series, and this is basically the detailing of the Bird and Magic rivalry. Just so episode starts, Jerry West starts talking about what losing does to you and things of that nature. So the episode opens up with Casey Jones singing in like I guess a piano bar or something, and this is the Casey Jones era coming off of Bill Fitch. Like Casey Jones was a former Celtic. He was a real easygoing guy, real good to get along with. Mikhail and Ainge and Bird both basically said the same thing. Uh, they talk about a practice where DJ Dennis Johnson was disrespectful to KC Jones, and this was like back in the day when your teammate could check you. So ML Card, got him and told him like, nah, we ain't about all that. You're going to respect this coach and this, that, and other. So, made DJ apologize, and really wasn't no problem. Dennis Johnson, he was with he won a championship with Seattle Supersonics in the '70s, and Dennis Johnson was a solid guard, clutch, all that. And Larry Bird loved playing with him. They had like a special chemistry where like they knew where each other was at. That was highlighted. This was like this was like 84. So this is the season that Bird really established himself as a top player. Bird, when they talk about the Lakers matchup, he said the Lakers were imposing. He said they weren't gonna tell him that, but they was mad. They was real imposing. They talked about the series where Gerald Henderson stole the ball. It was told a little different from the not then the courtship of rivals was another one, but I'm thinking about the ESPN 30 for 30, the Lakers and the Celtics. They told it a little different because they were talking about Bird. They said, was it Bird or somebody that had messed up on something, and they was like in the huddle talking, and they was like, we got to make a play, and so that went into Gerald Henderson stealing the ball. Worthy talked about what what happened in his mind when it happened. He said everybody was just stopped, and it was just Gerald Henderson. Like Worthy, that was like the early part of his career, so he wasn't all the way seasoned yet. But yeah, so they went into the racial component of the Boston Celtics. And earlier episodes was detailing that. That's part of the reason why that they took the Celtics off the jersey on the front and just put Boston, because the players and the players and the coach and Red Auerbach, they basically said, it's us against the world. We're not gonna represent what Boston is representing because there's a lot of racial tension. It was a lot of racial tension in Boston, going back from Bill Russell days. So, you know, they talk. BBD is on this series, and They talk about the My Secret video. That's the video where they on, at the Lakers game and Magic Johnson throw the pass to Ralph and he dunks it. Michael Bivins was like, yeah, we sold out a little bit. Excuse me. It's like, yeah, we sold out a little bit. And they broke it down, like they couldn't put the Boston Celtics on a New Edition video. Like they wasn't gonna do all that. So like, people understand that. They go into the Gerald Henderson trade, which was they were trying to move up Danny Ainge and Rick Carlisle, and it was a kind of a hurtful situation because the trades for Boston dating back to the 60s was kind of like, a little hurtful. That was, to the guys, because I mean everybody liked each other, like they liked playing with each other. It was kind of like of a hurtful thing when you got traded, and it was some, like the racial questions came up because I mean, you got two white guards, you sending away, a black one, so all that was talked about. They talk about the Dr. J and Larry Bird, the infamous fight where Dr. J gave him that 2-piece. Parrish, Robert Parrish brought up a real interesting tidbit about that situation. He was talking about why he didn't move to help Larry Bird. He was talking about how like Bird kind of peed him off a little bit with the negotiations the year prior. Bird was talking about we can do without him. I mean, he didn't say we can do without him. He kind of said that, but he said we just gonna have to do what we got to do. You give me the ball more, or whatever. That's classic Larry Bird, man. So Parrish said he was mad, hurt. I mean, he wasn't hurt, but he was a little apprehensive. He said he didn't feel close to Larry at that time. That was the exact quote. They talk about the Bill Walton trade, which sent Cedric Maxwell away. Walton, says he ruined Cedric Maxwell's life. And if you didn't know, Cedric Maxwell was the MVP of that first championship that Bird won. And I think it was 80. He was 84. Was it 84? Nah. But anyway, Cedric Maxwell was a very important piece to that team, and he got sent to Houston. I remember, when that went down. It's been detailed, but Walton didn't pass the physical to when he was traded to the Boston Celtics, and it was just like this was like old school where be like, okay, if you think you can do it, we're gonna give you a shot. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting. They talked about the Grateful Dead that the whole team went to. It was a bonding moment. Robert Parrish said he, got so far into it that he was shaking his little booty, which was wild statement. They talk about the '86 Celtics, which is considered one of the greatest teams of all time in NBA history. I'm not gonna argue that. I can't, they was, because they was all complete. They had the forwards, they had the guards, they had the primetime player. So I mean, not too hard to not hard at all to not argue that. So let's see. Oh, Robert Parrish, the chief, he was like, he said if they were playing today, they would be wrecking shop. He said they was wrecking shop then, and if they was playing today, they'd be wrecking shop now. He said they would come in. He said they had a gangster attitude. He's like, they'll put their Timberlands on your coffee table, just coming to your place, and do anything they wanted to do. That was real funny. They talked about the left hand game Larry Bird had in Portland. He said he just basically was bored and wanted to do it. Talk about the '86 finals when everybody wanted the Celtics to match up with the Lakers, but the Lakers lost to Houston. They played Houston. Now, just as an aside, I recently watched the '86 finals, and I was impressed with Houston, even though Boston beat them. If Houston would have had any kind of creative type guard, they would have beat them. I think so. I really think that if Houston had any kind of creative kind of guard, they had Allen Level, they had Robert Reed playing point guard. I mean, like they weren't overmatched. They just didn't have the guard play to help them out because Sampson and Elijah Wan was killing. Now they was doing that was the time when you could play way more physical defense. So they was beating up Sampson, and it came to a head in Game 5 with a fight broke out. Elijah Wan was laying dudes down. Elijah Wan was laying them down. Serious. If you don't know about old school Elijah Wan, you need to find out. But you know, the point I'm trying to make with that is that even though Celtics, it was like a foregone conclusion that the Celtics was gonna win. Houston represented themselves pretty good. It went 6 games, so can't argue with that. So the episode is closing out, and then they go into the draft and the land buys, which in theory would have set up the Celtics to dominate later. Later in later years after Bird retired, because Bird was excited about Len Bias. If you watch any highlights of Len Bias, I didn't watch him in college. I wasn't watching basketball like that when Len Bias was playing Jordan in college, but Len Bias and Jordan would have been a very interesting matchup going forward because Len Bias could match Jordan's athleticism, and I think his mindset could have possibly matched up with Jordan, and it might have been a different story about Jordan if Len Bias would have been blessed enough to stay on this earth. So that was the end of it. That's just my quick notes on that episode. Grandpa, sign it out.